Welcome back to the Stretford End, everybody, and this is your press conference reaction for our game against Leicester City tomorrow at Old Trafford. And of course, me, your host, Session Johnson. How are you guys doing? How is the Friday treating you? And of course, I want to say thank you guys for your support. The channel is definitely growing, and let's continue to make it grow to heights that has never been reached before. Continue to follow us here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Our goal is 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And of course, the links to our various socials are in the description below. And it is for TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Definitely go and check them out for more content on Manchester United and the Stretford End. So, a very short press conference held by Ralf Rangnick, and a very, shall I say, confusing one, because no questions were asked about Leicester City. No questions were asked about how the team looks ahead of the game. No questions were asked about how we will approach the game. Nothing was asked about the game for tomorrow. It was all about Bruno, all about Maguire, all about Pogba, and Cavani late at the end of the press conference. But let's get into it. It's not going to be a very long video, but definitely we need to, get through these points that Ralf Rangnick has made. Very first, he spoke about, did I really just say very first? Firstly, I'm telling you, it's been one of those days today, but firstly, he was asked about how important the new deal that Bruno has signed is to Manchester United. And self-explanatory, it is important. It is very important to the club, important to the fans, important to the player itself, who wanted to stay at Manchester United and wanted to show his quality, not just till the end of the season, but for the new manager coming in. And it is good that we have signed a player of Bruno's quality, on a long-term deal, so that now we know he's fully committed to his job on the pitch, but also to help the team in a wholesome sense, so that we can succeed and try and finish in the top four at the end of the season. Secondly, he was asked about Maguire getting booed when he played for England, and he basically came out and said that it's not something that he wants to get into, but it happened in the international stage, and it would not happen and will not happen at Old Trafford. He's very sure of that, and he says that Maguire is an important player, a valuable player, and I quote, my captain. Just give me a few seconds. When I watched the interview, I actually burst out with laughter, hearing that he said Maguire is my captain and he's an important player and a valuable player. I mean, we've all seen his performances. We all know that Rangnick is just saying that to protect him publicly, and Rangnick probably knows that he's not good enough to play for Manchester United or play at the level that Manchester United needs to be at, and at the level that he wants to take Manchester United to. And of course, with the new coach coming in, we'll have to wait and see if he's going to basically use Maguire, as a starting centre-back, whether it be Erik ten Hag or Pochettino or whoever it might be. I do want to also give you a small update on Erik ten Hag, but I'll do that later on in the video. Let's first get through the press conference notes. I'm still laughing, with what Rangnick said. I mean no disrespect to Maguire. Trust me, I don't mean any disrespect to him. It's like these English players actually have to be protected to the point that coaches that know for a fact they are not good enough have to come out and say they are important, valuable players, and they are. I can't even finish my sentences. I tell you, it's just funny. But anyway, let's move on to the next point. He was asked about Paul Pogba and the comments that he made in his interview while on international duty, and he said that he has a big game tomorrow against Leicester, as we all know. And again, this journalist did not ask anything about the game, and it became Rangnick's job to tell them that, hey, listen, we have a big game tomorrow. That is what I am focused on. I'm not going to sit here and try and interpret what Pogba said in an interview. That's a job for you. He told the journalists it's their job to try and interpret what he said and what it means. And they basically asked him what Pogba meant by playing in various positions. And Rangnick bluntly said that he's a midfielder. He can play at number 6, number 8, and number 10. And he can play this position, so it's bound to happen that he will be moved around within the midfield and the team so that he can use his skills to the best of his ability. So him complaining about playing various positions is just dumb, in my opinion. And being further on a point, they asked him about Cavani, and he basically said that Cavani is not just out for tomorrow's game, but also out for several weeks. So it could mean that Cavani's season is over. It could mean that he's played his last game for United. We don't know. We will just have to wait and see what happens as the weeks go on. But of course, it sounded a lot like Rangnick was quite annoyed by the fact that Cavani is injured because, and I quote, this was his words, Cavani is injured again, unfortunately. The word again is quite key because he basically bluntly is indirectly telling Cavani, you're always injured. You always seem to be injured when you come from international duty. But that explains the commitment that some of these players don't have towards, Manchester United and the team. They're basically just here to collect a paycheck and leave. That was basically the press conference. I literally said that they didn't ask anything about Leicester, anything about the game for tomorrow. So it was quite a very daft, boring press conference. And the journalists that were there were probably scripted to ask those questions because they needed to find out about Pogba because Pogba's people probably spoke to them. They needed to find out about Maguire because Maguire's people probably spoke to the journalists and said, hey, listen, ask the coach about that. Hear what he's going to say. I don't know how these people get paid. I don't know why they're getting paid. They're not actually asking anything. They're just, in my opinion, a bunch of idiots asking questions just to pass the time. They're asking absolutely nothing football related. It's just about social media. It's just about what they said publicly. It's just about, how players are seen off the pitch. It's just a bunch of nonsense that they ask all the time. But let me give you the Erik ten Hag update because the press conference was kind of done and we know that right now. But the Erik ten Hag update is straight from Fabrizio Romano. And basically, it was quotes that came out from an interview that Erik ten Hag had. And he basically said that, yes, his representatives have spoken to Manchester United. He was interviewed by them. But his focus remains on Ajax until the end of the season. And then we'll see what happens. Who knows? It's basically just him saying that, you know what, yes, I was interviewed, but, for the fact, I can't say anything more than that about it. And that's all it is. Furthermore, he said that Manchester United is a great club with great fans, which is amazing to hear. And it's probably a, positive sign for us that he definitely will love his time here at Manchester United. And, of course, further news on him says that even though Man United interviewed Erik ten Hag and Pochettino, they do plan to interview another candidate within the next week. Whoever that might be, rumors are saying it's Enrique after the international break because he won't have any players to work with because of him being at the club, so he would have time to be interviewed. But I think that is just more stalling tactics. PSG wants to give Pochettino to us for free. They basically are willing to let him go without, us giving them any compensation fees. So who's not to say that he might be the one to come? But the reports do state that Erik ten Hag is still Manchester United's #1 target, and he will definitely be scheduled for more interviews as time goes on. So you'll definitely have to wait and see on that, but you'll find the latest news here on the Stretford Inn. Thank you guys for joining me. That has been your press conference reaction and your Erik ten Hag update. Definitely excited for the game tomorrow. Continue to follow us here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Definitely drop a like on the videos. It definitely does help the channel grow even bigger. Of course, that has been me, Sashin Johnson, your host. Goodbye again from the Stretford Inn. Till we speak again soon on Matchday.